Oh, Jesus, boys, girls, in-betweeners, how you doing? We're back with another tutorial. It's been a while since we did one of these. This is Seth. Now, before we get any further, we do have, this is the PC Master Race here, and we do have mods on. So, obviously these are character mods for Jury, you can't get that costume in the game. This one for Seth has been modded a little bit as well. She's more feminine.
Back off, or I'll crush you.
And she has a lady voice now. So, there you go. If you're playing on PC, or PS4 rather, too bad, sorry, it doesn't work. Alright, that said, let's dive right into this, because these tutorials tend to go for a while, and I want to try and get things moving as quickly as possible. Basically, this is a basic tutorial for people just starting off with Seth. The character has been out for less than a week. I've had some time to wrap my head around her. I don't know everything there is to know, but I can tell you some good, basic, fundamental things to start off with, and we'll go from there. So, let's go ahead and go through the normals to begin with. Start with punches. Light punch is +3 on block, so that is good, obviously. It leaves you an advantage. It is not a 3-frame, so we'll get to a 3-frame in a bit. It's not a 3-frame, so don't think that it is. Standing in punch. It's good in the sense that it carries her forward. So you can see here, it actually moves her forward with Jury, but beyond that, it is -2. So it's safe, but at the same time, it's not great. You don't want to be throwing this out as a poke. This is more of a combo tool here. Alright? Stand Fierce Punch. Same kind of deal. Doesn't work as an anti-air. Doesn't have great range. Does carry her forward. But it's also it's minus on block. You can see there, it's depending on how you hit, it's either -4 or -7. So it's not very good in that regard. So
Get out of here.
that's the punches standing. Kicks, standing light kick, plus on block. So again, good pressure tool. Does not have great range. It's kind of average for a standing light kick. That's about that. Nothing else to really say about that. With that, it is cancelable, so you can cancel it in other moves. You can cancel light punch as well. I should mention that. Some of these moves are cancelable. So light punch is cancelable. But I'm really going to go over the cancelable stuff in the combos. So we'll go over that stuff later. Moving on. Staying medium kick, sorry. Now this move does have a great range. It has very clear positives and negatives to it. It does have a great range. It's one of the best range normals in the game. It's right up there with Jury's normals, with some Bison's normals, things like that. Some of Chun's normals. It really is great. Caveat to this is that if they're crouching, it whiffs. Absolutely right. If you're right in the face, you can get it, but as you can see, it's minus on block, and they do have to be very close for it to hit. At long range, it just whiffs. So it does negate a lot of the range advantage that you'd be using this for. So just be aware of that. It's good to throw out, but don't rely on it as a spacing tool, because sometimes it's going to duck under it and make your life painful for it. Now, standing heavy kick. This move is quite slow to start up. It's quite slow as far as heavy moves go, but it does have some very distinct advantages to it. It doesn't seem that way at first. You have the fact that it is -6 on block, which is quite minus as far as heavies go. It's right up there with some of the worst heavies, actually. But that's not why you use it. It has several other applications. One of them is the fact that it is extremely good at hitting things, because it has a huge hitbox. So this thing, as you can see, works from very far away. It always hits twice. You can't really get this thing to hit once. It just doesn't work. It whiffs, or it hits twice. That's the first thing. The second thing is that it is insanely cancelable. It has a huge cancel window on it. So you will always be canceling this move into something. It's going to cancel right into any of the specials. You can V3 cancel off of it. It's really good in that regard. Now, the other thing that makes it really good is that it is also an anti-air. So we'll get our friend here, Jury, to just jump. So it works as an anti-air. We can even get her to throw out a kick if we want to, just to really ram this home. Alright, so now we have Jury jumping and actually attacking. Look at that. Boom. Now it is slow to start up, and it does not have the most amazing anti-air properties in the world. It will trade quite often if you do it late. I'll see if I can get it to trade. It might be hard, depending on how the timing this is set up. There we go, trade. But even in a trade, it still knocks him out of the air. So it's still not that bad, even in a trade situation. But what makes it even better than that, you're like, okay, how can this get better? Right? You're like, Red, your soul beyond already. It's cancelable, it works as an anti-air. What's not to love? Well, you can go further than that. You can combo off your anti-air, which is something that's very rare in Street Fighter. This game does generally, if you have an anti-air normal, this game generally does not like you being able to cancel off of it, or combo off of it. There are some select characters that can do it. Gil can do it as well, but Seth is really, really good at it. I pressed the wrong button there. Now, you say to yourself, okay, what's even better than that? How can this get any better? I can already anti-air. I can already combo off my anti-air. Well, you can make it hurt even more for you. You can make things even worse. Because you can cancel the super off of anti-air.
I won't even leave a trace.
So yeah, you can basically do close to 50% damage to someone for jumping in, which is something that's going to make people very, very scared to jump in on you once they learn about that and see that you can do it. So that is something to be aware of. Absolutely, that is a big, big, big deterrent for anyone jumping in on Seth. So just keep that in mind. So that said, those are the combos. Well, we're actually not doing combos; we're doing normals. Those are the standing normals. Crashing normals. Crashing light. It's plus on block. It's good. You can you can be used in combos. You can cancel for things like that. Crouching light kick. Also plus. Not bad. Not bad. Has decent range to it. It's an alright poking tool. The thing I should mention as well is that Crouching Light Punch is her 3-frame. So every character, well not every character, most characters have 3-frame normals. Some don't. Set those. So if you're looking for your get off me button or your fastest button, this is your fastest button. Right? Now, let's talk about Crouching Medium Punch. Crouching Medium Punch is the butter zone, baby. It is your #1 normal for playing Seth. Let's take Jury's Guard off here. It's being a bit weird. After attack, please. Thank you. All right. This move is insane. First of all, it's plus on block by itself. It's plus 2 on block. All right. It has quite solid range, as you can see. It's not a bad poke. So it's quite solid range. It's plus on block. Now, the thing that makes it even better than that is that it can combo not into itself, like Cammy, but it can combo into target combo, which we'll get to in a bit, but just to show you, it combos into target combo, which again, fairly rare in this game. This game doesn't generally like you being able to do things outside of target combo that's not designed for. It was clearly designed for this. So this is your #1 confirm. This is where the big damage happens. This is where all the fun stuff happens, where you can go from Crouching Medium Punch into target combo. If you time it right. You time it not. Oh god, I've lost it. It's not that hard. There we go. See, it's not that hard. It's very late when I'm recording this, by the way. Just so you know. Alright, so that's Crouching Medium Punch. It's fantastic. It is a really good button for pressuring. It's a really good button for getting damage. It's just really good all around. Alright, Crouching Medium Kick. Also a very good button. Probably your second go-to button after Crouching Medium Punch. Has the same range as Crouching Medium Punch. Get it from there. Get it from there. Get it from there. So, basically the same range as Crouching Medium Punch, but it hits low. So that's the advantage of it there. Now, it is minus on block. So it's -2. So it's safe, but it's not advantageous like Crouching Medium Punch. But it's also cancelable. So you can use this when you're in neutral and you're just looking to harass someone. It's a very good long-range poke when you're in neutral to just throw this out and cancel the light slash kick. Alright, let's look at Crouching Fierce Punch. This is the, well, aside from being copied from Chun, this is actually your anti-fireball move. This is one of your anti-fireball moves. Seth has several of them, and we'll get into the properties of those a little bit later. But as far as normals, this is your only normal anti-air. This will slide underneath effectively any projectile. It'll even slide underneath Sagat's low target shot. So it'll go under them, but it does not, it is slow to start up, and it does not have a huge amount of projectile invincibility on it. It does have a hitbox on top of it, which is projectile invincible, but it's slow to start up. So it's very hard considering the comparatively short range it has for punishing fireballs. You have to be quite close when they're throwing the fireball to punish with this. So it's one of our options. It's not great. I'll show it off a little bit later when we're talking about moves that get through fireballs. But just keep it in mind. It is also says sweep. So most characters have sweep on crouching heavy kick. Seth actually has it on crouching heavy punch. So just be aware of that. So because of that, it has a standard negative frames for a sweep. It's -10, so it's very punishable. So just keep that in mind as well. Alright, crouching fierce kick. Alright, let's talk about command normals, because Seth has a few of them. Now, first one, forward beam punch. This is kind of an interesting poke. It's part of one of the tag combos. By itself, I don't find it particularly useful. Just because of the fact that it is not safe on block. Well, it's negative on block, I should say. -2. But beyond that, it's just, it's not cancelable by itself. So there's not too much you can really do with it beyond that. Seth has other long range pokes that she can use, like stand medium kick, or crouching medium kick. So there's not a huge amount of application for using this by itself. Alright, let's talk about the next one, which is forward fierce punch, which actually has a lot more application. It goes further. It's -4 on block, which makes it relatively unsafe. The thing about this is that because it's so far away, if you space this right, most characters will have difficulty punishing it. It's slow to start up. It doesn't have, it has a huge, well, not huge, but it has a decent chunk of startup there. But it does take you a long way. Hits reasonably hard, and it also has crush counter on it. So Seth has 2 crush counters. This is one of them. Now, it does put them into a crumple state. So crumple state being different to the normal spin state that you get from a crush counter. So because of that, you have to be very picky with your combos, because your normal combos won't work. So if you try to go into a target combo after that, she gets popped out of it before the target combo works. So we're gonna go to combos later on, so I'm not gonna cover that right now. But if you want to do this, basically, best option is to go for something short and sharp. Something like that. Just gives you a knockdown, and you don't need to go really, you don't really need to spend meter on it. So, unless you're, actually, you can spend meter on it, but you don't have to, is my point. You can just go something short, sharp, get a knockdown, and continue pressure after that. Alright, next move to talk about is Seth's down forward heavy kick, which is this bad boy here. It's her other crush counter. It puts them into a spin state, which allows you to do your regular combos afterwards. Now, the interesting thing about this is that most crush counters in this game will force people away from you, whereas this one actually brings them towards you, which is very interesting as a jury player, because I have to chase people the fuck down when I do my crush counter, because they fly away from her. This brings people in close, which basically leaves them, it's open season after that. You get to do any combo that you really want, if you do this right. Like so. So you do have, you can, like I said, you can just go to town after this one. So this is your primary punish for moves that are ridiculously unsafe, like dragon punches or whatever. You can't really throw this out in neutral very much, because there's a very shallow range to it, as you can see. But if you do catch someone with it, it will pull them in closer. So you do have options with it. I tend to prefer using this in neutral just because it has much more range to it. But you can use this to whiff punish effectively. So it's one of those things where you just have to play with it and just see what suits your style best. Alright, let's look at Seth's jumping normals. So, jumping light punch. Kind of like, this is really what you expect from most jumping light attacks, is that it's the only really reason you use this is for air to airs. It's not a great combo starter. It's quite difficult to hit, if at all. As you can see, it's pretty much impossible to hit Jury. You can probably hit like taller characters like Abigail with this, but it's really just an air-to-air move. It's a get-off move in the air. You're not going to use it for anything else other than that. Alright, jumping light kick. Now, this sadly highlights how weak Seth is in the air, because this is Seth's only cross-up. Jumping light kick. Seth has no other cross-ups aside from this, which makes Seth not a huge threat in the air. Seth has much more of a threat on the ground than in the air, because this is not going to give you much damage in effectively any situation. Even if you go for like combo extensions, because you're starting combo light, the only thing you can cancel off, well, the only thing you can combo into off of this is other lights. So, like that. So, because you're comboing from lights and lights, it's going to scale your combo really hard, which means you're not going to get big damage. So, granted, you can use this to get a knockdown, which is good, but it's tricky. The timing for this is fairly strict if you're going to do that. That doesn't work. I'm going to try this a couple more times. There we go. So you can get a knockdown, which can give you pressure from there, but like I said, Seth is not a huge threat in terms of cross-ups. So just keep that in mind. That's really your only option. Obviously, you can just go for tick throws. But yeah, that's just something to bear in mind, is that you're not going to be pressuring much with cross-ups with Seth. Alright, let's talk about her jumping medium punch. This is fairly solid. This is her one of her go-to air-to-air moves for making a jump, because of the fact that it causes float state. So this can be used in combos. It's also cancelable, which is interesting. So you can cancel in the air. It does have a lot of application, but it does have also a short range. So just keep that in mind. It's a good air-to-air, it's good for combos, but it's not good. It's not going to be a jump-in tool. All right, jumping fierce punch. This is your go-to jump-in. It is her most damaging jump-in. Not a jumping heavy kick. It's actually a jumping heavy punch, which is the most damaging attack because that's 90 and the other one is 80. That said, it also has very similar range, so there's really not much reason to be using jumping heavy kick over jumping heavy punch. Solid range, solid active frames. Good combo starter. There's not really much more to say than that. It's also a solid air-to-air if you don't want to go for jumping medium punch. But yeah, it's basically you can obviously link in other moves afterwards. So it's a solid move all around. It is your go-to jump-in move, effectively. So that said, let's talk about jumping heavy kick, which, like I said, is basically just been superseded by jumping fierce punch because it does 10 points less damage, has the same kind of range. There's not really a whole lot of reason to use this that I've found, because like I said, jumping fierce punch has effectively the same range. As you can see, I just can't find a reason. There may be very select situations where hitboxes may come into play on this one, but 90 to 95% of the time you're going to be using jump fierce. So I wouldn't worry about jumping heavy kick too much. Alright, let's talk about Seth's target combos. The first one is this one, which is effectively done by holding forward and pressing medium punch, heavy kick, heavy punch. Now, this one by itself is not particularly great, I've found. Largely because, like any other target combo in the game, it is unsafe. Very unsafe on block. Minus 12. So, this is not the kind of thing you just want to let rock, effectively. Now, you can stop it to move early. You can stop it there, it's minus 5, which is still very unsafe. That said, you can cancel it into V-Trigger. So, you do that, makes it safe, and obviously also, if you do that, it's also a plus on block. Oh, look at that, we're plus 5 on block. So, that is probably the only reason you'll find to use it. Because of the fact that it causes a knockdown, there's just not, it knocks them away, it increases a lot of space between them, so there's not really a whole lot of reason to use this. It's not really that great in combos, you can't cancel the end of it, so it's just not really what you want to be using, effectively. Unless you're just going to use it to activate V-Trigger, that's going to be really about it. Alright, so second target combo is a lot more useful. It's just medium punch, heavy punch. Very easy to do. Again, like every attack combo in the game, it is not safe on block. Minus 12, so you want to be very careful about throwing this out. That said, because I mentioned earlier that you can link the crouching medium punch into it, if you time it right. Because of that, it makes it very confirmable. You don't have to just throw this out. You can do something like you can do a jumping heavy punch, into crouching medium punch, into target combo. So this is not the move that you throw out. This is the move that you just put in your combo at the end of the string before the cancel. We'll get into the combos a little bit later, so I don't want to show that off right now. Just know this is not what you throw out randomly. You don't just throw this out by itself, you do something before it to make sure it's confirmed. Alright, let's talk about Seth's special moves. First one is Fireball Punch. Hecaton Cherries, or Hecaton Trees, or however you pronounce it, I do not know. This move is interesting in that it is used a lot in combos, but it's not really something that you sort of throw out that much in neutral. Now, every version of this is minus on block, just depends on how you do it. So if you actually do block, not actual standing. Minus 4. Minus 4. Minus 2 for the heavy version. Now, the heavy version has the longest startup out of all the moves, but it also has the most advantage to it because it leaves you very significantly plus on hit. You're plus 3 on hits. What can you do that starts up in 3 frames, kids? That's right. Crouching Light Punch, which means you can combo after this, which again is something that you don't get to see very often in Street Fighter. You don't get to see specials that actually are linkable afterwards, unless you're in a special state like V-Trigger or something like that. But this, you can actually, if you get the timing right, you can throw out a jab afterwards, which means you can do another one with the light version. Like so. So that's the advantage of the heavy version. The light and medium are mostly used in combos, and heavy is used as more of a combo starter. It's a little bit tricky, we'll get into that a bit later, but effectively that's really all there is to it. There's not much else. The EX version hits harder and it gives you Oki. Now if you don't know what Oki is, that basically means that you are at advantage when they're waking up, effectively. So because it carries Seth forward, when she does it, even if they fast recover, she's still gonna be an advantage. We're already punching her as she gets up. So that is something to keep in mind. The EX version is very good for that. And again, we'll get into that later. But that's really what you're gonna be using the EX version for, is the fact that it gives you good damage, gives you good stun, and it gives you great knockdown.
I'll crush you.
Alright, next move is the Mad Cradle.
Spiral drive.
Now, this is the DP for Seth, Dragon Punch, which means it carries with it all the properties that you expect for a DP in this game.
Spiral drive.
Effectively, that it is your primary anti-air. You don't really use it that much in combos outside of V-Trigger. And even then, I personally, like, Seth's V-Trigger is very interesting, and we'll get into those. I said a lot, don't I? We will get into those. But you don't really use it much for combos because you have better options, effectively. The thing about this is that it doesn't really leave Seth an advantage too much in terms of Oki, because it knocks him quite far away. So it's not the best tool for that. It's just really your anti-air tool. Obviously, you want to use the medium and heavy versions for the anti-air. Curiously, with Seth, the heavy version seems to be much better anti-airing than a lot of other characters as well. I've heard it has invincibility. I can't confirm that, but either medium or heavy will definitely be your other anti-air options, because standing heavy kick is a great anti-air normal, and you will want to try to use it as much as you can, but there are characters that have downward facing jump-ins, characters like Vega or Urien or Zangief, that make this quite difficult to use because you have very little time to react with a slow move. So if characters like that, you're going to want to be using Mad Cradle instead. The EX version is exactly what you'd expect. It has full invincibility on it, so it's your wake up reversal if you want to use it for that. Nothing else to really say. It's a DP. It's what you'd expect. All right, next one is the Cruel Disaster, which I just call Slash Kick. Now, interesting thing about this is that it does cause knockdown, gives you great Oki, like a lot of her other moves, so you can do whatever you want afterwards. I don't recommend doing Spiral Drive, that was an accident. That is one of the tricks, one of the problems you'll run into with Seth is that it's very easy to get accidental Spiral Drives, or, sorry, Mag Cradles. But, yeah, don't worry about that too much. Medium gives you great Oki. Now, the interesting thing about this is that, like you would expect with a special move, it's -1 block, -8, -6, but watch Heavy Kick. It's +2. So, Seth actually has a special move which is not even using meter to be +1 block. So, this is some interesting situations for you where this move can basically leave you an advantage. You can use it as a frame trap. And you have options afterwards, effectively. So, it's a good mix-up tool. It's a good cancel tool in neutral, where if she's walking around, you can just throw this out, buffer it. Just buffer it off crouching medium kick is what I like to do. Like I said, gives you knockdown, gives you advantage, and it only works in the light version if you're canceling this. The medium and heavy versions are too hard to, or too long startup to cancel. Doesn't work. But like I said, the heavy version is a frame trap. Now the other interesting thing about this as well is that the heavy version does have some fireball invincibility on it as well. So I'm going to do a quick change to Ryu, and we'll be right back. Look at that, through the magic of editing, we are back with Ryu. And he's checking Plasma Rouse. Now you remember before I said Crouching Fierce Punch was a move that goes into fireballs? It does. But if we do a close range, it's quite hard to react. As you see, we got counter hit there. So it does work. You really have to be. It's a move that you use more as a prediction rather than actually trying to react to Hadoukens. So that said, we're not talking about her normals. We're talking about her specials. We're talking about the heavy version of this. So if we do the heavy version, it does go through it. Now again, it's a bit slow to start up. So it's tricky to react to fireballs, especially throwing fast fireballs. But as you can see, we can hit from quite a decent range. And because it puts Ryu in that spin state afterwards, you have plenty of time to dash up afterwards and start your pressure. So, doesn't work from, I mean it does work from full screen obviously, but it won't hit. But it's something basically that is probably your best tool for making people think twice about throwing fireballs, because Seth does not have, Seth does not have great tools for dealing with fireballs. All Seth's tools are a little bit wonky when it comes to dealing with projectiles, even though she has multiple ones for dealing with projectiles. So, just something to keep in mind. You want to throw this out more as a prediction rather than a reaction, but that's okay because it's +2 on blocks. So if you guess wrong and they block, it's still your turn, effectively. So there's not a lot of downside to throwing this out, beyond the fact that it does have that slow startup, so if they choose to jump in, you're going to be in a world of hurt. Now, the EX version of this move does have its own little quirk to it, in that it knocks them into the air and it is jump cancelable. So you can jump after it. She doesn't jump normally. If you just let it rock, she just stands there. But if you hold up, she'll jump cancel. Which means you can follow up with her jumping medium punch and cancel for that. And it's some sick combos, which I'm sure you've seen on the internet already. We'll be showing off combos later, but... So there's a lot of fun you can have with this. It's definitely a big part of her combos. But it is also very unsafe on block. -12. So again, not the kind of move you want to throw out haphazardly. Even if you cancel off of something like Crouching Medium Kick, it's still it's sweet punishable. It's punishable by just about anything. So this is really a move that you can firm into. You do not throw it out by itself. Alright, so the last special is the Annihilate Sword, which is a airborne special done by doing quarter circle back in the air. Now, primary use for this move I've found personally is that because it causes Seth to pause in the air when she does it. The heavier the button you use, the more she pauses in the air. Especially heavy. It's used for messing with people's anti-air timing, effectively. If you're fighting against someone who does not have a DP, if they have a DP, this will get stuffed hard. Like, you do not want to use this against people who are good at anti-airing you, because they will knock you out of the air. If you're fighting against someone who has an anti-air normal, it's a different story, because this will screw with their timing. So, it makes Seth, even though Seth is weak in terms of being able to do cross-up pressure, actual jump-in pressure is quite good because you can do this. If they throw an anti-air normal, it will stuff the anti-air normal because they're basically going off the wrong timing, effectively. They have to know that you're doing this. So it's very good for that. Now, the light medium versions do not cause knockdown. You can't combo off of them, but they leave you an advantage on hit. On block, you're negative, so it's not your turn anymore if they block it. But on hit, it is still your turn, effectively. So that's the thing. Now, you can Tiger Knee this. Tiger Kneeing is a turn that was used from Street Fighter 4, where you do a quarter circle back and then up forward to make it come out as fast as it can. So if you jump normally, the fastest you can get for a heavy one is about up here. Like there, it's tough to get down lower than that. But if you Tiger Knee the motion by doing that, it comes out a lot sooner. So you can do that. So keep in mind, again, you do quarter circle back, then up forward to make the low version of it effectively come out. Now that said, it does have a height restriction on it, so you can't do it under a certain height. It just comes out as it'll either come out later or it just won't come out at all. It'll come out something like that, or it just won't come out at that height, effectively. So there is a height restriction on this. Now the X version does not have a height restriction. So if you Tiger Knee it, ooh, she does it basically standing, which is very interesting. Now this is not an overhead. That is important to note. If we stick Ryu on crouching and block all, he does not have to block this effectively. Well, he does not have to stand to block it. That was completely, but as you see, he blocked crouching. Something to keep in mind. Oh. So, it's not an overhead. Don't think that it is. Again, you use it primarily in combos. You can use a pressure tool as well. But, yeah, it's not something that you use a whole lot. You use it mostly as a move just messing with people's anti-airs, effectively. Alright, last thing to talk about is SETH's overhead. It's forward plus HK. Very similar to Urian's. It doesn't have as good range, I don't think. Range is average, it's okay. I wouldn't call it bad, I wouldn't call it good. It's just average overhead range. Like every other overhead in the game, or at least most of them, it is minus on block, so it's -7, so it's very punishable. So something to keep in mind there. She has a weird pop-off animation when she actually hits it. She pops off. It's kind of interesting. Nothing else to really say about that. It's an overhead. It gives you a little bit of advantage on hit, but on block it's obviously minus, so you don't want to throw it out too often. Alright, let's talk about V skills. Now, SETH's V skill 1. Tandem Engine is a very interesting V skill in this game. I have yet to really tap its full potential. Now, the first thing to know about this is that it's not really a command grab. I would not view it as a command grab, but it does have the animation of one. Now, what happens is if you press V skill, it pulls someone in. If you press punch or press V skill again, either or,
That's the best you got.
she will grab them. As I said, it's not a command grab. It can be blocked, so don't think that it is one. It just has an animation of grab. Once you grab them, you steal a special move from them, and that special move is different for every single character. So if you want to use this V skill, you better get good at figuring out what special you get from every character. Because in Ryu's case, we get a Hadouken. Now, I do actually like this V skill. I like the fact that it's just a long range move. It's easy to confirm because you just see them being pulled in. If they block it, and you go for the, if you block it and, well, if they block it, sorry, and you just go for the pull in, it's only -2, which is fine. If you get greedy and go for the grab, it's -16. So be very careful. Like I said, it's easy to confirm because you'll see the guard animation or you'll see the hit animation as they're being pulled in. It has a fairly decent range on it. can be jumped in on, so be careful about throwing this out too much. But I like it. It has a lot of applications. On hit, it leaves you an advantage. You can't, if you just pull them in and you don't go for anything afterwards on hit, you're at +2. So you can't combo off of it on hit, but you are at advantage to start pressure. So you can pull them in and then start doing plus moves to make their day horrible, effectively. So there's a lot of utility around it in that regard. Now, the other thing to keep in mind about this is that it also does go through fireballs, but it's very weird about it. So if we put Ryu back to chucking plasma, let's see if we can get this. Nope, we timed it badly there. Nope, timed it badly there. There we go. Wow, that was painful, but we got it. So it is very, very tight to get. I don't recommend trying to use it in response to fireballs, because like I said, as you just saw, it's very tricky to get the timing for it. But it can be done. I would, in situations like that, I would go slash kick every time, because slash kick is plus on block if you get it wrong. So this is not your friend that much. It's not a good anti-fireball tool, let's put it that way. Out of the 3 tools that she has for fireballs, using V-Skill is absolutely the weakest. So just keep that in mind. Alright, V-Skill 2, the Tandem Booster. It looks like Juri's V-Skill, and it kind of is, but it's not as good, in my opinion. Because this is not an anti-fireball, unlike Juri's, this is not an anti-fireball tool. If you use this to try and beat fireballs, you'll just eat fireballs all day, and there's nothing you can really do about it. That said, there is something you can do about it. The way this works is that it can be used in several different ways. The first way is that it just closes difference, or distance rather. It just closes the difference, just closes the distance, my mouth is all marbly, between you and your opponent quite quickly. It covers full screen. So if you're just looking to catch them by surprise, get on in, you can do that. You can tap it again to cancel it, just like Juri's. So if you just want to cover ground quickly, you can do that. That said, this is not the only purpose it has, because it can be cancelled into specials. You can do any of the specials except for the slash kick, or the jumping slash kick, I should say. You can do all the ground specials, is what I'm trying to say with this. At the end of it. Now, if you do this normally, if you did like a light version of this, obviously it's going to be minus, it's going to be -4, it's going to be -4. Heavy's -2, right? If you do this, doesn't matter what version you do, you're going to be -2. So you can use this to get in close and start some pressure off, and if they block it, then it's -2. So that's not a bad option for getting in, effectively. You can do other things on it as well. You can do a mad cradle on it if you want. You get a diagonal version of it instead of the fully vertical version of it. The interesting thing about this is if you do it against a fireball, you will be able to go through the fireball if you do it at full screen. And only at full screen. Let's try this again. Like so. But only at full screen because there's so much startup on it. That is not what I wanted. This is very hard to do outside of full screen. Like so. So again, not a great tool for getting around fireballs. I would not try to use that to get through fireballs at all because, like I said, you have to be at absolute full screen to get it to work. But it is an option if you want to use it. You can do slash kick as well. Thing about that is that, as you can see, it's very minus. So I would effectively never use this for anything. I would just not use that. You can cancel on V-Trigger, but even then, if you cancel on V-Trigger, it's still minus. So I just wouldn't do it. But those are the 3 other options they got. Alright, let's talk about V-Triggers. SETH's V-Trigger 1. This allows you to cancel specials into extenders, effectively. So all you gotta do is once it's activated, you can cancel any special into a extender by pressing V-Trigger again. So if you do punches, you turn guard off, that would probably help. You get extenders. And that works for everything. So this is your big damage V-Trigger effectively, because you can get some insane damage off this V-Trigger if you do it as part of combo. And even if they block it, you can do cancels on block, and most of them are minus, like if you do this, you do a slash kick, it's minus. Doesn't matter what version you do, -4. But if you do the punches, you're +2. So you have pressure options even if they block, effectively. So it's quite good for getting damage as well as pressure depending on how you go with it. So that said, it is very high execution. So you have to be aware of the combos, combo paths, and whatnot, and go with that. So, alright, second V-Trigger is this bad boy. It's a ball. It's just on the screen for a very short period of time and then disappears. Now that by itself does not seem particularly useful, however it does have some utility outside of that. It is not a damage V-Trigger. This is not the V-Trigger that you use if you want to get damage. This is the V-Trigger that you use if you want to get mix-ups. Now again, I'm not going to show you how to get mix-ups because that's a different video and it's getting long enough as it is already. But if you want to see how this is used, effectively you activate and then you press different strength buttons in different directions to get to move. It only moves on activation. Once it's in place, it stays in place. You can't move it. So I can move here, but if I try to press buttons now, they don't come out. So it only moves on activation. You can detonate it by pressing V-Trigger again. So basically this is what you're going to use to mix people up and get damage that way. It's not, if you just throw it in the rear, it's nothing. Even if you like attack him with it, it's still, it's nothing. So you're using it for combo extensions, you're using it for mix-ups, you're not trying to just get damage with this ball by itself. And that's really all there is to it. It's a separate video to just talk about this because obviously there's a lot of applications to this and we've been going long enough as is already. Alright, last thing to talk about before getting to combos is SETH Super.
System override. Overdrive. I won't even leave a trace.
We did say at the start of the video when I used that as part of combo, but that's effectively the damage for it. It's 330, which is fairly standard for a super. It does have invincibility to it, I should say. You can use it to punch fireballs, things like that. I'm not going to show you that. You can just use it on reaction to punch fireball. Has decent range.
System override.
That's about as far away as you can really use it.
Leave a trace.
Any further out and it won't really work.
System override.
Like that. So it's not effectively full screen like it was in Street Fighter 4. Now, what's interesting about this is that if you pick V-Trigger 1 and only V-Trigger 1, in V-Trigger 1 you get a different animation and you also get a damage boost. So if we go in a V-Trigger, keep in mind it did 330 when we did it before. You can see up there below Ryu's icon.
Exterminating. System overload, maximum output. Warning. Error levels have exceeded its threshold.
So you get 350 instead of 330. So that's getting up towards the upper echelon of supers in this game. And it's a nice little perk for using V-Trigger 1 effectively. So you can use it as part of V-Trigger combos, get a bit more damage, and get a cooler animation. And that's really it. It's a super. It does what you expect it to do. It does a lot of damage, has invincibility, and has some neat features added to it as well. Alright, that said, now we're just going to jump into combos. I'm going to show you a few short, sharp combos that you can do to get some solid damage and basically give you a good starting point for using Seth, effectively. So these are not going to be huge swag combos. Those are separate things that I don't really do, and I'm not a big fan of combo video combos because those are more about swag and they're generally not very practical a lot of the time. So enjoy, these are all pretty simple, and yeah, that's about it for these. So check these out and enjoy. Alright, that's it for this video. It's gone on long enough. If you want a separate video for V-trigger combos and things like that, setups, shenanigans, and whatnots, let me know in the comments below. And if you did enjoy, as always, please consider tossing me a like or even a subscribe, because there will be more content coming out for Seth in the future, including online matches. So be sure to check those out. But in the meantime, kisses, hugs, belly rubs. I will see all of you
Gonna
very
stand there all
soon.
day? Interesting.